Niners faithful, it is June 22nd, and we have three things to break down today that every single person watching this show needs to hear. First, Brandon Aiyuk is back on social media, and this time he has crossed into territory that should genuinely infuriate the 49ers organization and harden their position. Second, George Kittle, the ultimate teammate, the ultimate pro. The guy who has everybody's back in that locker room just took a shot at Aiyuk on Pardon My Take, and when George Kittle says something like that, you stop and pay attention. And third, the 49ers training camp dates are officially in, and the preseason schedule gives us a real look at how the team is going to get ready for what needs to be a championship season. Let us get into all of it. Start with Aiyuk, because the saga refuses to end and keeps getting worse every time it feels like it might be turning a corner. A few days ago, there was actually some positive news around his situation. He stepped on a scale on Instagram at 207 or 208 pounds, panned up to show himself in solid physical shape, and then posted a video dribbling a soccer ball leading up to the United States playing Australia in the World Cup. If you have never tried to do what he did with that soccer ball, it is genuinely difficult. And he made it look easy. That is a healthy knee. That is an agile human being. The signs that the knee is trending in the right direction were real and encouraging. Then Father's Day happened. Aiyuk posted a video with his son, which started warmly enough before he looked into the camera and said, while still under contract with the San Francisco 49ers, go Commanders, hail Commanders, raise hell. Then, on his Instagram story, he posted a photo of Mark Rypien hoisting the Super Bowl Lombardi trophy as the Washington Commanders quarterback. Let that sink in for a second. A player who is under contract with the 49ers, who signed a 4-year, $120 million extension with this franchise, who was paid roughly $76 million in guaranteed money, is sitting on Father's Day publicly cheering for another NFL team. This is not ambiguous social media activity that can be explained away. This is not a Washington hat photo that requires some interpretive leap. He looked into the camera and said the words. He is in Washington, D.C. There are reports of him doing a throwing session with Jaden Daniels. When Daniels was asked about it, he declined to comment. Aiyuk was at Daniels' wedding. Brock Purdy was not. The man who was Aiyuk's quarterback during his All-Pro 2023 season was not at his wedding. His Arizona State teammate was. The history of this situation runs deeper than most fans fully appreciate. During those hostile contract negotiations in 2024, Aiyuk was on FaceTime with Daniels telling him they did not want him anymore. He was posting TikTok videos of Daniels at practice while under contract with the Niners. He went on the Pivot podcast and said if he did not sign with San Francisco, he would love to play in Washington. The ties to Washington and to Daniels are as real as any professional relationship in football. And every piece of Aiyuk's behavior this offseason has been pointing toward one destination. Here is the problem for the 49ers from a leverage standpoint. All of this public campaigning, all of these Go Commanders posts, all of this activity is more fuel for San Francisco to hold firm rather than simply release him. If I am John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, I am looking at this situation and saying the same thing every day. Washington, if you want him, pick up the phone and give us a late-round pick, because we are not cutting him and watching him walk straight into the arms of Adam Peters, who was our own former assistant general manager, to team up with his best friend. The tampering line gets closer every day this continues. Professional Football Focus had Aiyuk listed on their site with Washington's team colors and logo during free agency. This is the worst-kept secret in the entire NFL, and the Niners know it, which is exactly why the leverage actually belongs to San Francisco right now rather than to Aiyuk. He cannot force a release that triggers dead money for the organization. He can throw social media fits. He cannot control what John Lynch decides to do. Now to George Kittle, because this is the part of today's show that genuinely matters in a different way. Kittle was wrapping up an appearance on Pardon My Take with Big Cat and, literally about to sign off when he told them they had not asked him about Brandon Aiyuk. So they asked. And what George Kittle said was not the polished, diplomatically worded answer you would expect from a team captain who is careful about how he discusses teammates. He said the last time he saw Aiyuk was somewhere around week 6, 7, or 8 of last season. He said he used to make it a habit to go out early before morning meetings to watch him train because he was always out there, and that he watched everybody's back. Who is the emotional anchor of that locker room just said publicly that Washington can have him and good luck with everything that comes with it. When the most loyal teammate on the roster says something like that about you, it is over. Now let us get into something more fun. The training camp dates are officially in, and the schedule is genuinely exciting. Rookies report to the SAP Performance Center on July 18th, giving the young players a week to get acclimated, continue absorbing the playbook, and get on the practice field before the veterans arrive. Veterans report July 25th, which means Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, and the rest of the core group will be together for the first time as a full roster roughly a month from now. The joint practice schedule is worth noting specifically because it signals how Shanahan is thinking about preseason preparation. Joint practices against the Titans on August 11th set up preseason Game 1 against Tennessee on August 13th. Hello to Robert Saleh, now the head coach in Nashville. Joint practices against the Chargers on August 18th lead into the preseason road game at SoFi Stadium on August 20th, the site of Super Bowl 61, worth noting. The preseason rounds out August 27th on the road against the Raiders at 5 p.m. Pacific. The switch from joint practices against the Raiders the last couple of years to Titans and Chargers gives this roster a different look at different offensive and defensive schemes in the preseason evaluation period, which should be good for development across the board. Training camp is a month away. The Brandon Aiyuk saga will resolve itself one way or another before or during camp. George Kittle just told you everything you need to know about where the locker room stands on the situation, and the 49ers are getting ready to compete for a championship. That is where we are on June 22nd. Hit that like button, give me a follow on X, Instagram, and TikTok @Chase Senior. And we will catch you soon right here on the Niners Report.